Sino si HCG? Okay, anong pakana niyan sa buhay natin? Now, we have here your human chorionic gonadotrophin hormone. Okay, HCG. So, when it comes to pregnancy testing, so ito yung hormone na ini-expect natin na really produced by your syncytial trophoblastic cells during pregnancy. Okay, so yung placenta ninyo, so eto siya. Okay, this is your placenta, so this is your uh, syncytial-trophoblastic cell na nagpo-produce ng inyong HCG. And this hormone, your HCG, actually stimulates your corpus luteum to produce your progesterone in order to maintain your pregnancy. And smaller amounts of your HCG is produced by pituitary gland, liver, and colon. So, hindi lahat ng pagkakataon kapag positive ang pregnancy test ay buntis ka. Baka mamaya may tumor ka lang. Okay? So next, when you measure the levels of your HCG, obviously, this can help you to identify normal pregnancy from pathologic pregnancy. Okay? And then also aborted pregnancy. So normal pregnancy, so ito yung tumataas talaga yung HCG mo because of the syncytial-trophoblastic cell na pinoproduce ng placenta mo. Pathologic pregnancy, for instance, nagkakaroon ka ng positive na pregnancy test dahil halimbawa, meron kang ectopic na pregnancy. Okay? Ectopic pregnancy or sometimes yung tinatawag natin guys na teratoma. Okay? So kapag merong teratoma, so ganun din. Nagkakaroon ka rin ng abnormal growth na to ng tissue. So nagkakaroon ka rin ng positive na pregnancy test. So possible siya kahit sa lalaki. So kung nanonood kayo ng Grey's Anatomy, merong episode doon na 'di ba pinagkaguluhan nila yung lalaki, which is malaki yung tiyan niya, and nung in-examine niya yung urine niya sa pregnancy testing, so nag-positive siya. So na siya, medyo psychologically speaking, akala niya buntis siya. But that is because of the presence of teratoma na nag-grow sa kanya. Okay? And there is also a benefit in measuring your HCG level in a variety of cancers such as your choriocarcinoma and your extrauterine malignancy. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi lahat ng pagkakataon porket nag-positive ang pregnancy test mo ay buntis ka. Pero sana wag mo naman pangarapin na dahil siya sa tumor or any malignancies. Okay? So, when we are talking about your HCG here, okay, characteristic niya is that it is a glycoprotein heterodimer, okay, which is about 36 to 40 kilodaltons ang kanyang bigat. And then this is composed of two subunits, the alpha and the beta subunit. So the alpha subunit is encoded by chromosome number 6 and the beta subunit is encoded by the chromosome number 19. So the alpha unit of your HCG, alpha subunit of your HCG is homologous to your pituitary stimulating hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, your luteinizing hormone, and your follicle stimulating hormone. While yung beta subunit ng HCG ninyo is homologous to your luteinizing hormone. Okay, now we have here the pregnancy test. So again, principle ng test ang gagamitin natin. Now we have here your immunoassay. Immuno. So meron tayong antigen and antibody reaction na titingnan. Now here, the principle of your immunoassay is to detect your HCG using a monoclonal antibodies. So, gagamit tayo dito ng monoclonal antibody which is your anti-HCG. Okay? And kapag present ang HCG sa urine or sa serum, so didikit yan siya dito which will cause agglutination reaction. So kapag nag-agglutinate yan siya, that is a positive result na meron kang HCG sa urine or sa serum mo. So for agglutination immunoassay, so this can be direct or agglutination inhibition. So this is a direct agglutination reaction. Okay? And then next, you have your competitive radioimmunoassay. Now, for the competitive radioimmunoassay, so yung serum HCG natin and the radio-labeled HCG will compete for the binding site ng ating antibody na si anti-HCG. And remember, the sensitivity here is 5 milli-international unit per ml. So, ganito siya. So, meron kang serum HCG na nanggaling sa patient female natin. And then, meron kang HCG which is labeled with radioactive substance. Okay? Radioactive substance. So, eto, manggagaling to saan? Malamang sa reagent mo. And then, meron kang antibody. So, etong dalawang HCG na to, mag-aagawan, magpapaunahan yan sila dito sa binding site. Okay? Binding site ng anti-HCG ninyo. Okay? So, kapag ang naunang pumwesto dito is the HCG, okay, ibig sabihin yan, mataas ang concentration ng HCG mo sa serum, so probably ikaw ay pregnant. Pero kapag ang nangyari is yung HCG na may labeled na radioactive substance ang dumikit dyan, ibig sabihin wala kang HCG or mababa ang concentration ng HCG na nasa serum mo kasi naunahan ka ng HCG na may radioactive substance. So, siya yung nauna sa spot. Ibig sabihin lang yan, wala kang HCG na nanggaling sa serum mo. Okay? Yung HCG na nasa reagent, yun ang dumikit doon. So, that is what you call competitive radioimmunoassay. So, paunahan kayong dumikit dito sa binding site na to. And when we are talking about sensitivity, so gaano ka konting HCG ang kakailanganin mo para magkaroon ka ng positive reaction. Now, for example, meron tayong test kit number 1 and then test kit number 2 dito. So, si test kit number 1 natin, ito ang kanyang sensitivity. 5 milli-international unit per ml. Si test kit number 2 natin is 10 milli-international unit per ml. So, kung tatanungin mo ko, which is more sensitive? Ang isasagot mo is yung may pinakamababang number. Kasi ibig sabihin yan, ganyan lang kakonti na amount ng HCG ang kakailanganin ko, magpa-positive na ang result ko. So, as low as that number. So, ibig sabihin, mataas ang sensitivity niyan. Okay? And then next, we have here the enzyme immunoassay. Okay, enzyme immunoassay or yung sandwich enzyme link immunoassay na tinatawag natin. Now, this is based on the detection of your HCG, okay, based on the color indicator reaction mediated by an enzyme, which is usually, ang ginagamit natin is alkaline phosphatase. That is commonly used in the home pregnancy test. Okay, home pregnancy test. So, dito sa sample, sa sample pad mo, okay, so meron ka dito, okay, meron ka ditong sample na ilalagay. Now, for example, ang urine natin contains HCG. Okay, and then, dito sa may test line, okay, dito sa test line, so meron diyang anti-HCG. Okay, anti-HCG. So, kapag dumikit dito yung inyong HCG, so magkakaroon siya ng color reaction. Okay? Color reaction, that is because imimediate yan siya ng enzyme na nakadikit, which is your alkaline phosphatase. Okay? Alkaline phosphatase. So, technically, makakakita ka ngayon ng color reaction sa band. So, yan din ang madalas na nakikita niyo sa common na cassette. Okay? So, mediated by your enzyme na alkaline phosphatase para magkaroon ka ng visible na color reaction kapag dumikit si HCG dito kay anti-HCG na nasa sample pad. So, the sensitivity of this one is 2 to 5 milli-international unit per ml. And then for immunochromatometry, so parehas sila halos ng principle. Okay, pero eto specific siya na meron kang control line, meron kang test line, and then meron kang antigen antibody information. Okay? So, dito sa sample pad, so meron kang HCG from your urine or serum, and then meron kang antibody. Okay, meron kang antibody dito na labeled siya with your dye or pangkulay. Okay? Labeled siya with your dye or pangkulay. So, kapag present si HCG dyan, so didikit siya dito. And then, pagdating sa test line, so may nakaabang na isa pang antibody doon, which is your anti-HCG rin. And then, sa control line, ganun din. May nakaabang din na anti-HCG doon. So, etong antibody mo kanina na dumikit sa kanya and then meron siyang dye or pangkulay or chromogen. So, didikit yan sila ditong dalawa. Okay? And then, makakakita ka ng dalawang positive na dalawang colored line dito sa test and control line. So, ayun nagbibigay ng kulay dyan is etong dye na nakadikit sa antibody antigen complex na nangyari kanina. Okay? So, ganun lang. And the color band in the HCG concentration is equal to or greater than 20 milli-international unit per ml. So kapag umabot ng ganito karami si HCG, so magpo-produce siya ngayon ng color band na halimbawa red or purple ang makikita nyo dyan. Alright? And then next we have here the bioassays. Okay. Now, for bioassays, bio meaning gumagamit tayo dito ng living organism. So, in the form of what? Test animals. So, the principle of your bioassay is to introduce or introduction of your HCG to a test animal and then magpo-produce ng characteristic changes sa reproductive organ ng animals. Now, the first one that we have here is your Askeim-Zondek na bioassay. So, ang test animal na ginagamit natin is immature female mouse. And the route of injection ng HCG is subcutaneous. So, the positive result na titingnan natin is the enlargement of the ovary. Okay, enlargement of the ovary or your corpora hemorrhagica and corpora lutea. So, this is the normal. Okay, normal na ovary ng inyong female mouse. And then after introduction of HCG, so magsuswell siya. Okay, or lalaki ang ovary. And then next, the Friedman-Hoffman, which uses your female virgin rabbit as test animal. And then the route of injection of HCG is the free marginal ear vein. And the positive result here is hyperemia of the uterus and corpora hemorrhagica. And then next, you have your Hogben, which uses your female frog as your test animal. So the route of injection of your HCG is subcutaneous into the dorsal lymph sac, and the positive result is oogenesis. Oogenesis or extrusion of eggs 8 to 12 hours after the injection of HCG. And then next, you have your Galli-Mainini na bioassay which uses your male frog as your test animal. And the route of injection of your HCG is intramuscular via your gastrocnemius, so dito sa paa. And the positive result is spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis or release of sperm into the cloaca. And then next, you have your Frank Berman. So the test animal na ginagamit is the female virgin rat and the route of injection is subcutaneous. Positive result is ovarian hyperemia. Okay, ovarian hyperemia. So magkakaroon siya ng ganon, yung parang bilog-bilog. And then, next you have your Copperman with the use of your female virgin rat as the test subject. And then, intraperitoneal ang route of injection ng HCG, intraperitoneal so sa tiyan. And the positive result is also ovarian hyperemia. And then, Sources of error for your pregnancy test. So false positive. False positive is production of HCG in the pituitary. Tumors characterized by significant amount of HCG. This is what I may talking a while ago na sabi ko, baka hindi ka buntis, baka may tumor ka lang. Then, ectopic pregnancy. Okay? Ectopic pregnancy, so yung fertilization is nag-occur siya sa fallopian tube. Okay, hindi siya doon sa uterus napunta. Okay, and then incomplete abortion. So kapag kasi nahulugan, nakunan, na miscarriage, or nagpa-abort, okay, after some time, meron at meron pa ring levels ng HCG na madedetect sa katawan ng babae. And then the intake of chlorpromazine pala, the phenothiazine and aspirin can also cause false positive results sa pregnancy test. And then false negative naman is low titer or concentration of HCG. This is the reason why ang ating preferred na sample for pregnancy testing, especially if you're going to use your urine, is the first morning. Okay? First morning urine sample. So, di ba, pag gumamit tayo ng first morning urine sample, mape-prevent natin ang false negative na result ng pregnancy test. Dahil sa first morning urine sample, concentrated pa ang amount ng HCG na makikita mo dyan. And then low sensitivity of test animal or assay method and the use of toxic urine. For instance, ang urine natin ay meron ng bacterial contamination, mataas ng electrolyte level, meron siyang salicylates and barbiturates. So possible na maka-obtain tayo ng false negative na pregnancy test. And then next, so we have here the sputum analysis. Now, for sputum analysis, ayokong gawin to guys. Promise, nandidiri talaga ako. So, it's up to you kung gusto nyo siyang gawin. Papagawa ko sa inyo pero di talaga ako titingin. Okay? Now, for the specimen collection of our sputum, so the first one here is expectoration. So, hindi ko alam kung anong Tagalog na layman's term nito. Basta yung pag umuubo ka, yung isasabay mo yung paglabas ng plema mo. So, first morning specimen ang requirement natin. And this may require induction. So, pwedeng mag-induce ng 10% NaCl, acetylene cysteine, or your sterile distilled water. So, mag-i-induce ka muna ng, ng NaCl or acetylcysteine or sterile distilled water bago mo ilabas yung plema or sputum. And then next, you have your bronchoalveolar lavage, which is mag-i-infuse ka muna ng saline through your bronchoscope. And then, pag na-infuse mo na yung saline dito, so i-aspirate mo siya pabalik. And then, yung fluid na makukuha mo dyan, that is now what you call your bronchoalveolar lavage. And then next, you have your throat swab, your cuff plate, or your cuff swab na method. So, magko-collect tayo ng throat culture by rubbing your sterile swab dito sa pair of tonsils or sa tonsillar pillars or yung nasa posterior pharyngeal wall, yung dito sa likod. Okay? And then, endotracheal aspiration. So, insertion of your small plastic catheter. Okay? And then, that is inserted to your cricothyroid membrane and into your trachea. So, kapag na-insert na yan siya dyan, so kung makikita nyo, parang may nag-i-inflate na maliit na balloon. So, kapag na-inflate na yan siya, what will happen? So, this catheter that was inserted here sa trachea mo is mag-i-induce siya ng coughing. So, uubo ka technically. And then, magkakaroon ng secretions dito sa area na to and i-aspirate mo yan siya gamit ang tubing na yan with or without additional installation of saline through the catheter. So, pwedeng pagka-insert mo dito ng endotracheal catheter, mag-induce ka ng saline kung walang secretion na lumalabas. Or, hindi mo na kailangan na kapag pag-inflate mo pa lang neto, pag-ubo niya, biglang may secretion or phlegm or mucus or sputum na lumabas. Okay? And gross examination of your sputum. So we have here the color. Okay? For the color, so meron tayong range of color ng sputum ninyo. So, different color of your sputum indicates or tells you something. So, for instance, we have here the yellow and yellow-green na color. So, this is an indication of the presence of pus or nana in cases of pulmonary TB or tuberculosis or chronic bronchitis. And the next one is we have the green colored sputum, which is an indication of jaundice, caseous pneumonia, Pseudomonas infection, rupture of the liver abscess. And then red or bright red na color ng sputum naman is an indication of a recent hemorrhage. Recent hemorrhage due to acute cardiac infarction or pulmonary infarction or neoplasm invasion. So, may tumor na nag-invade ng lungs. And then, rust-colored, so may pagkakalawang, may pagka-brownish na ang kulay niya. Or, the best example is yung medyo brown na red yung itsura niya. So that is a decomposed hemoglobin. So oxidized na ang hemoglobin, meaning matagal na merong bleeding doon sa area na yon. So that is due to lobar or pneumococcal pneumonia or presence of pulmonary gangrene. And then brown colored sputum naman is due to congestive heart failure. Then you have the olive green or grass green colored sputum. So that is due to chronic cancer naman. And then black colored sputum naman may be due to the presence of dust particles, carbon or charcoal. Kapag heavy smoker ang ating patient or due to anthracosis. So, eto ang range ng color ng inyong sputum. So, next slide na tayo. Medyo kadiri siya. And eto rin. Okay, so macroscopic structure na possible natin makita sa sputum. Macro meaning we can see this with our naked eye. Okay, with our naked eye. So, physical examination kumbaga ng sputum natin. So, we have here first the cheesy masses. Okay, cheesy masses, these are fragments of necrotic pulmonary tissue that ranges from pinpoint to pea size, and they are seen in cases of pulmonary gangrene, pulmonary tuberculosis, and lung abscess. And then the next one is we have here the Dietrich plug. So Dietrich plug, so these are yellowish or grayish caseous material about the size of the pinhead that gives a foul odor once na kinrush mo siya or dinurog mo siya. Okay, so these are seen in cases of bronchiectasis, putrid bronchitis, and bronchial asthma. And then you have the pneumoliths, your broncholids, or mas kilala natin sa tinatawag na lung stones. So these are small, gray, white, or gray fragments from the calcification. Calcification meaning matigas yan. Okay, matigas yan of infected and necrotic tissue within the bronchial cavity. So these are seen usually in chronic pulmonary tuberculosis and histoplasmosis. And then next, we have here the bronchial cast. Okay, bronchial cast, these are white or gray branching tree-like cast from your bronchioles, which are seen in cases of lobar pneumonia and fibrinous bronchitis. And then you have here your mycetomas. So these are rounded masses of fungal elements seen in aspergillus infection. So, yung color black na mga structure na nakikita nyo dyan. And then we have the microscopic structure that can be seen. So microscopic with the aid of our microscope. So first we have here the Kirschmann spiralis. So they are spirally twisted mucoid strands frequently coiled into little balls. So eto sila. Okay. And then next we have here the elastic fibers. So elastic fibers, so these are refractile fibers shed during the coughing out process. So, grabe ka naman umubo, di ba, Pati? Okay, pati elastic fiber lumabas na. Okay, so this indicates destructive diseases. Okay. And then you have here the Charcot-Leyden crystals. So these are hexagonal needle-like bipyramidal crystals which are seen in bronchial asthma. Remember, pag sinabi natin guys na asthma, so this is an allergic reaction. Okay? This is an allergic reaction. And kapag may allergic reaction tayo sa katawan, there is one type of white blood cell na tumataas sa system natin, and that is your eosinophil. And etong si eosinophil nyo kasi na to, kapag naparami yan sila, okay, and nag-reside na yan sila sa iba't ibang bahagi ng tissue mo. So, for instance, dito sa atin sa bronchial tree natin, for example, since may asthma ka, so dito guys, kapag madami sila, so mataas talagang possibility na makakita ka ng Charcot-Leyden crystal. So that is due to an allergic reaction. And then next, you have your hematoidin crystals, which are rhombic-shaped crystals seen in pulmonary infarction and lung abscess. And then next, you have your cholesterol crystal. So, kung ano yung cholesterol crystal natin sa urine. So, ganun din ang itsura niya. So, they are notch plates, crystals seen in lung abscess. And then you have here the cells and inclusion. So, first is we have the Crayola bodies. So, these are bronchial epithelial cells with vacuolated cytoplasm and ciliated borders. So, bronchial epithelial cells with vacuolated cytoplasm, meaning ang cytoplasm nila ay may butas-butas and meron silang cilia sa border. Cilia or yung hair-like structure. And then we have here the carbon-laden or dust cell. Okay, carbon-laden or dust cell. So, ito yung cells nyo na merong black granules. So, makikita nyo yan. So, these are seen in pneumoconiosis. And then you have here the heart failure cells or your hydrophages. So, these are your brown or hemosiderin-laden crystals seen in congestive heart failure and alveolar macrophage. And then, for microscopic examination, so sa sputum, yung madalas na ginagawa natin is acid-fast staining. Okay, acid-fast staining for the detection of your MTB or Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay. So, for the steps of your acid-fast staining, so apat lang na step ang tatandaan nyo dito. First one is the application of your primary stain, which is your carbolfoxin. Then application of heat, which is your mordant. The application of your decolorizer, which is your acid alcohol. And then you have your counter stain or secondary stain, which is your methylene blue or malachite green. Now, how will you know if the organism is an acid-fast organism? So, ang magiging kulay nila guys is red or pink. Kapag non-acid fast ang microorganism natin, so magiging color blue sila if methylene blue ang counter stain mo, magiging color green sila if malachite green ang ginamit mo. Okay? Malachite green. Alright. So next is we have here your bronchoalveolar lavage. So daanan natin kanina si Bal kung paano siya kinukuha. So mag-i-insert ka ng bronchoscope okay, sa papuntang bronchial tree mo doon and then mag-i-infuse ka ng saline and then kukuhain mo yung na-infuse mo na saline doon and together with the mucus or substance na mabibit-bit mo, and that is what you call now your BAL. Now your BAL is a method of obtaining cellular, immunologic, and microbiologic information from the lower respiratory tract. So, meron ka ditong flexible bronchoscope. Okay? And then, this one is i-insert siya okay, through your nose. And then, pababa dito sa bronchial tree na to. And then, mag-i-infuse tayo ng saline. And then, kukuhain natin yung fluid na yan through aspiration. And that will be now our BAL or bronchoalveolar lavage. So this is often used in conjunction with high resolution computerized tomography. Obvious ba? Kailangan mo ng computer guide na machine dyan kasi kung baka kung saan mo maisuksok ang bronchoscope mo. And during bronchoscopy, a fiber optic bronchoscope, so may camera or may lens. Okay, may camera lens yung dulo niyan and that is guided towards your selected bronchopulmonary segment. Usually, ang pinipili natin is the right middle or the lingual lobe. So, yung dito. Okay. And then, kukuha ka ng aliquots. So, ipoportion mo yung ball or yung lavage na nakuha mo. So, aliquots of your sterile normal saline are instilled into the alveolar spaces through your bronchoscope and then mix the bronchial contents and then i-aspirate mo yung fluid na makukuha mo doon for cellular examination and culture. So the installation volume is between 100 to 300 ml of saline into 20 to 50 ml aliquots. So yung ipapasok mo doon, i-infuse mo na saline is nasa 100 to 300 ml. And then kapag mag-aalicoat ka or ipo-portion or hahati-hatiin mo na ang sample mo, so nasa 20 to 50 ml ang capacity per container. Now, the first aliquot na makukuha mo is kailangan mo siyang i-discard. And then the succeeding aliquots ay either sent individually for analysis. So, pwedeng may dalawa ka pang extra na aliquot which is ito for cellular examination, ito naman for microbial culture naman. Or pwede mo rin siyang i-pool for further analysis. So, pag sinabi nating pooled, ko-combine mo silang dalawa. Paghahaluin mo silang dalawa. Now, the desired fluid volume for analysis is 10 to 20 ml, minimum of 5 ml. So, ganito mag-aliquot. So, yung unang aliquot mo or unang na-prepare mo or unang nakuhang bal mo is i-discard mo siya. And then, yung pangalawa at yung pangatlo, pwede mo silang isend individually for testing. Yung isa for cellular examination, yung isa for microbial culture. Or pwede mo silang paghaluin. Okay? And kapag hindi mo siya agad, okay, kapag hindi siya doon na-collect sa hospital kung nasaan yung laboratory, so you should keep the specimen at room temperature during transport and then process them immediately. Now, kapag delay ang transport mo sa laboratory and longer than 30 minutes na ang nakalipas, so kailangan i-transport mo na yung specimen mo on ice or at 4 degrees Celsius. And kapag hindi agad na-analyze ang specimen, so anong gagawin mo? Isi-centrifuge mo siya. Okay? And then, pagka-centrifuge mo, yung sediment dito na kung saan yung cells mo dyan makikita, so i-resuspend mo yan siya with a nutrient supplemented medium and then refrigerate mo for 4 degrees Celsius for up to 24 hours. Now, specimens are unacceptable already for testing kapag more than 24 hours na ang age ng specimen. Now, the cell count should be performed within an hour and they are stable for up to 3 hours. Now, kapag hindi mo agad siya, okay, hindi mo agad siya uh, test immediately or within an hour. So, magiging stable lang siya for up to 3 hours provided na ang cell mo na yun kanina na na-obtain is na-resuspend mo siya sa nutrient supplemented medium. And you can filter your sample through your loose gauze, which is 50 to 70 microns nylon fiber in order to remove mucus, phlegm, and dust. Lalong-lalo na kung magsa-cellular examination ka kasi kailangan malinis. Okay, ang itsura ng i-sustain mo na sample. And what are the tests for your BAL or bronchoalveolar lavage? So we have here the color, the clarity. So color is clear or colorless normally, but it may range from milky white, light brown, beige to red color, and clear, hazy, cloudy, or turbid. So a bloody ball with increasing intensities during the sequential aliquots that indicates acute diffuse alveolar hemorrhage. So for example, first na aliquot, second na aliquot, third na aliquot. So, habang tumataas or tumitingkad yung pagiging red niyan, ibig sabihin yan, yung nakuha or na-obtain mo na ball is bloody. And that indicates an acute diffuse alveolar hemorrhage. Now, if the color is orange-red, so this is a result of older hemorrhagic syndrome. So, matagal na may bleeding doon sa area na yon, and this should be evaluated for intracellular content by cytochemistry. So, intracellular content with the use of your Prussian blue na stain. Okay, Prussian blue na stain. That is a special stain for iron. Prussian blue. And then, if it is milky or light brown beige na color ng ball, so this indicates an accumulation of your phospholipid protein complex derived from your pulmonary surfactant. So, yung pulmonary surfactant nyo na yan, guys, yan yung fluid na nagpo-protect sa lungs ninyo na in between siya ng membrane. So, para hindi basta-basta mapapuncture or masisira or makakaskas ang lungs mo. And if that is the color of your ball na na-obtain, so this actually suggests a pulmonary alveolar proteinosis. So remember that your pulmonary surfactant is rich in phospholipids. Okay? And then this is the color of a bloody ball, and this is a color of your milky, okay, milky na ball. Okay, and then you have here the WBC and RBC count. So for testing of your WBC and RBC count, cell counting ang tawag dito. So these are performed in your bulb by dilution. And then, alala nyo kanina kung paano natin ginawa si sperm count. So, sa hemocytometer din natin siya ika-count. And for cell viability, you can determine this by adding your trypan blue. Okay, trypan blue. So, another special stain ulit. So, etong itsura kapag nilagyan mo siya ng trypan blue. So, yung nakikita nyo dito guys na donut shape, okay, that is your red blood cell. So, yung WBC dyan is etong intact na intact siya na itsura. And minsan guys, mas malalaki talaga yan ang dihamak. Okay? And then next, you have here the presence of erythrocytes. Now, if the presence of erythrocytes and erythrocytes alone, intact na RBC, so this is an indication of an acute alveolar hemorrhage. Ibig sabihin, currently, nagbi-bleed yung area na yon. And then, if there is a phagocytosed erythrocyte, so those are your red blood cells engulfed by your macrophages. Okay, engulfed by your macrophages. So this suggests an alveolar hemorrhage that occurred within the past 48 hours. Okay, within the past 48 hours. So kapag naman hemosiderin-laden macrophages na yan, so makakakita ka na ng macrophages mo na may hemosiderin granules, okay, hemosiderin granules or yung parang brownish rhombic crystals na nakita nyo kanina. So this already indicates an alveolar hemorrhage that is older than or more than 48 hours na. So matagal na merong bleeding sa area na yon. Okay? So this is your erythrocytes. Yung may mga araw-araw na maliliit. And then you have here the epithelial cell. So the epithelial cell that is present in your bronchoalveolar lavage is your ciliated columnar bronchial epithelial cell. Now, comparing the presence of ciliated columnar bronchial epithelial cell. So, meron pa kasi tayong isang tinatawag na bronchial wash specimen, and then your bronchoalveolar lavage na specimen. So, ang bronchial wash kasi, ito yung infuse aspirate mo na kay saline bago mo kuhain yung sample. So, technically, sa bronchial wash, mas maraming epithelial cell ang masa slough off or masasama. Okay? Compare sa bal kasi na nag-infuse ka lang ng saline and then kukuhain mo na yung fluid. So that is your bal already. So walang washing, walang masyadong sloughing off ng epithelial cell na nangyari. Kaya kung i-compare mo yung amount ng ciliated na columnar bronchial epithelial cell, mas marami ang nasa bronchial wash compared sa bal. Now, for the lavage specimen, so sa bal natin, yung normal range lang ng epithelial cell, your ciliated columnar bronchial epithelial cell is only 4 to 17%. So, ano bang itsura ng epithelial cell na yan? Okay. Columnar, so ibig sabihin mahaba. Ciliated, ibig sabihin meron siyang hair-like structure. So, this is your bronchial, ciliated or columnar na ciliated na epithelial cell or bronchial cells ninyo. So, columnar pahaba, papansin nyo elongated din ang kanyang nucleus, and then you have here the cilia, or yung hair-like structure sa kanyang cell. And what are the microorganism na possible natin na makita sa bronchoalveolar lavage, such as your fungi, viruses, and bacteria? So you have here the organisms that can be identified. So you have your Pneumocystis carinii, Toxoplasma gondii, Strongyloides stercoralis, Legionella pneumophilia, Cryptococcus neoformans, Histoplasma capsulatum, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycoplasma pneumoniae. For virus naman, you have your influenza A and B and respiratory syncytial virus rather. Okay. Now, in your immunocompromised patient, immunocompromised patients, the diagnostic test for your Pneumocystis carinii, in your bowel is actually maganda na siyang indication. Lalong-lalo na guys if yung patient natin is halimbawa invaded na siya with opportunistic pathogen. So mas maganda na ito yung gamitin mong sample. And Cryptococcus neoformans naman are usually seen and they are becoming significant opportunistic pathogen in patients with AIDS. So opportunistic pathogen, so kailan lang yan sila papasok? Papasok lang yan sila kapag down ang immune system ng isang tao. Okay? And this is your Pneumocystis carinii. And this is your Cryptococcus neoformans. So, encapsulated si Cryptococcus neoformans. And then we have here for cytology testing. Okay, so for cytology testing, so this is actually evaluated by your pathologist. Okay, si pathologist ang mag-i-evaluate neto if there is a possible na malignancy suspected sa specimen ni patient. Now, special stains ang ginagamit natin dito if you want to observe some structures which is makikita mo lang siya with the use of special stain. Now, if you use your oil red O, so you can observe their sulfur granules which is kung meron kang infection or fungal infection with your actinomycetes. Then, hemosiderin-laden crystals or macrophages, Langerhans cells, cytomegalic cells, fat droplets that is seen in fat embolism. So, you can use your oil red O stain. Now, if you use naman your Sudan 3 stain, so you can observe there the lipid-laden alveolar macrophages. Now, if you use naman your periodic acid shift or oil red O stain, so you can diagnose here your alveolar proteinosis, and then your dust particle inclusions can indicate your pneumoconiosis or asbestos exposure. Okay, and that's it for our discussion today. So, for vaginal secretion, isi-separate discussion ko na siya. Baka ma-overwhelm na kayo kasi ang dami ko ng kinoda today. So, I'll see you all guys next week for our microscopic urine examination. And then a week after that, ano na tayo ng semen analysis and pregnancy testing. Okay, so next week din ako magbibigay ng instruction sa boys natin. Okay, so if you don't have any more question, guys, you are all free to go. Goodbye, everyone. See you all next week. Vavu.